songs that I listen got a corny vibe with it. They all are die rappers, get immortalized quickest. It's hard to ignore the times we born inside different. Can't even say their morals, how they normalize snitching.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back. We are back. We are back. It's Knowledge the God, Hip Hop is Real. And you already know we got one of the guys in the building, man. One of the killers. Real Sikh. Was good.
Was good, Knowledge. How you?
I'm well, man. NOME weekend, man. We're a week away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From when NOME happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Almost a week away. You know what I'm saying? Almost a whole week.
Yeah. Right there.
How you feeling, man? You know what I'm saying? Post Tay Roc battle, hearing all the noise, watching it back. Like, how are you feeling?
That shit was crazy, bro. I wanted to perform in New York on URL for like the longest time. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Since I got on URL, we was all over the place. You know what I mean? We was in like North Carolina, Virginia, Atlanta, Houston, the West Coast. You know what I mean? We never got to perform, or I never got to perform in New York. So being at the Gramercy, legendary venue, legendary opponent, that shit was crazy, bro. The energy was crazy in the building too. Yeah, bro. It was fire. It was dope meeting all the fans and shit like that. It was amazing night, bro.
All right. That first round. Talk about that first round. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I was talking to 3 yesterday, and he was like, some people didn't know why I chose to go first, right?
Okay.
Because there was like Roc's returning in New York. Why shouldn't you go first? Or why would you go first and shit like that? But I knew my first round was crazy. Number one. Number two, when you preparing for a battle like this, because I've seen a lot of people try to act like this was like a regular battle and Roc was being Roc and I wasn't shit, right? You preparing for Roc returning in New York. You know the energy is going to be crazy for him. He's a Hall of Famer. And now he's on Hall of Fame sentence. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the way you got to prep for this is like after he raps, my next round, whatever round is next, is going to be an uphill battle. Doesn't matter how dope the round is.
Right.
After he goes, my round is going to get almost canceled out and I got to learn how to fight up from that, right? So I was like, if I go first and I have the round that I did where pretty much every 4 bars the crowd was reacting to the shit that I was saying, I was like, I gotta have one of these because it's not gonna get appreciated if it goes after Roc's first. You know what I mean? So I was like, the way that I made it was like every 4 bars gotta be crazy. You know, the crowd, I think there was maybe only 1 bar that I just said that they didn't react to. Okay. Everything else they were reacting to, the fucking all the chopped cheese, the lock screen, the subway map, you know what I mean, the seatbelt bar, the it's me, bro. Like everything I had in the fast flow shit, all of that. That was one of the craziest first rounds I ever had, and I think whenever it drops on the app, people will see it too. That first round was very strategically placed there, you know what I mean? Because I was like, right when he says, hey, yo, the crowd is going crazy. You know what I mean? Roc is going to go crazy. The building, the energy in the building is going to be crazy. So I got to have a crazy round right before that. You know what I mean? So,
what you think about, the length of the rounds that Roc had?
I mean, I knew he was going to rap for a long time. They said our battle was an hour and 10 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, so we both had long round. We was talking about this after we got off stage, to where like where he was like, yo, how many bars? Like we was counting how many bars our rounds were. You know what I mean? After the battle, because he wrote long rounds for sure. But yeah, we had the battle was long, bro. I mean, shit. When I battled Ilmac just now, that was I think that was the second longest battle of the weekend. I think Daylight and Rum was the first the longest battle or whatever. So we some rapping ass rappers, Knowledge. What can I say, bro? We was rapping up there.
I'm not gonna lie.
it was like, when I'm looking back at the fans, like I watched the battle. I
Yeah,
thought you were great. I thought you did your thing.
yeah,
A lot of the analysis is, Rock got you and everything like that, mainly the
yeah,
battle. And then, like I'm seeing the polls, he's like clearly winning and things like that.
yeah.
How do you feel about that aspect of it? Even though knowing that you win and did what you were supposed to do, but a lot of people still feeling like Rock got the battle.
Yeah, I mean, if people think Rock won, I don't have any argument there. Rock went crazy. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I said, I'm battling a Hall of Famer on Hall of Fame settings. So if people think I lost to that, that's not a bad thing. That's
Okay.
Rock in New York. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
on his return to New York. The thing I get mad at is these other little rappers that are thinking they could have done anything different. Like
Right. Okay.
there's a
Who?
lot of these dudes that wouldn't have stood in front of that version of me and lasted. It just looks different because I'm battling arguably the greatest of all time on his return. You know what I mean?
And he's on
That
100.
on 100 too. Like, and
Yeah.
that's the thing that I've ran into my career a bunch where I'll battle somebody, they'll be on 100, they're a legend, like the Shine battle, or like the Twerk battle. You know what I mean? They go crazy. So me making that battle, for example, the Twerk battle, this battle, even a battle that people could watch and say, "Oh shit!" That when I got on stage, people were saying that was battle of the night.
Right.
It was the best back and forth. There's not a lot of these dudes that are battling Rock returning to New York, and it's gonna be a good back and forth.
Right.
It's gonna be they're gonna get destroyed. You know what I mean? So like Rock is a good person to have on your resume, especially the warrior shit that I always embody in the culture. You know what I mean? Going there, doesn't matter. I don't care how many of your fans are in the building, whatever. I'm showing up, I'm doing my thing. That all of that was in the prep. When I signed the contract, I'm like, all right, he's gonna have the building. You know what I mean? So I got to do everything I can to make this battle a good battle to watch. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I think I mean, he for sure had the building. I'm hearing everything though. Like all his fans and stuff is saying he got me out of here, right? Yo, the internet is not a real place, bro. I
Uh-huh.
get off stage and people are, like I told you, battle of the night. That shit was crazy, yo, good battle, shit like that. And then I go online and they acted
And
like
then
I died. And I'm like, yo, in real life, everybody I'm meeting in the venue and all of that is like, bro, that battle was crazy. And you know how I know that? Because every other battle had like 3-0 chants, and they
yeah,
had, the crowd do it. They didn't do none of that with ours. They
that's
was
true.
reacting to a good back and forth. You know what I mean? So
That's
that
true.
lets me know that the battle was good. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I'm hearing everything. I seen so there was some people that came up to me after said I got the first. There was people saying he got the second for sure. I think he got the second for sure. And then the third is preference because I had an angle and he just rapped. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I did my job. You know what I mean? If people think I lost, then I'm a warrior. I die on my shield. You know what I mean? So if I lost, that's fine. That's cool with me. My last loss was 3 years ago. You know what I mean? So like I'm good. Like if that's what it is. Like
How, how do you feel about the battle as far as like win or losses or anything like that?
I think he performed better than me for sure, and he had the building, like his stage presence, all of that. It was a masterclass on that.
Okay.
I don't think he was saying better shit than me for sure. Like I think that's why you'll see people giving me the first, the most I've seen that the people who have me winning. I know Truffaut was saying this. I saw Goods gave me the third. I seen like is that I got the first and the third. The first is gonna be the closest round because he went fucking crazy. You know what I mean? And I think my first was crazy too. I think he got the second, but I seen people giving me the second online too, which was crazy
Yeah.
to me because I thought he might have got the second. Um, I only watched the battle back once right after, so it's a long battle. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I like my third better than his third because I was talking about, him not talking about shit. I was talking about the door shit. You know what I mean? I was
Right.
talking about I'm the only rapper from Jersey that never jerseyed and all of that kind of shit. Like I feel like my third was more substance. But again, if you don't like that shit and you just like him gun butting me and shooting me and all of that shit for 3 rounds, you're gonna have him winning. You know what I mean? And that's the dope shit about battle rap. It's all preference. So you could think I lost and that's cool. I think I got the first and the third. Material wise, I think he performed better than me, for sure. And that was good to see because now I'm battling somebody that's like a master at the stage. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm picking up little things that I'm like, oh shit, if you talk shit after your bar, a reaction could become a haymaker. You know what I mean? Like it ain't just what you say. You could say something and it could be crazy, but if you start, yeah, bitch, you know what I mean? And then the crowd's gonna go even crazier.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's like one of them little gems that I'm picking up when I'm battling somebody like Roc. You know what I mean? When it comes to the stage presence and all of that shit. But I mean, I'm super proud of my material, bro. I think it's up there. It shows top tier skill, top tier talent.
Facts. You know I agree.
Yeah.
I did hear a little bit of criticism on Spaces. I think where it was like, Real Sikh. He has tough times on the big stage against the big names and things like that. He's just better in the small room. How do you contend to that? And do you feel like as far as wins, like they try and say you lose all the time or something like that. As far as wins, do you feel like, what I'm saying, it is tougher to perform in the big stage to get wins against these top tiers? Or do you feel like, nah, I have caught wins and I've only lost to a selected few?
Yeah. If we talking about, see, I was talking about this before. I'm not getting on a big stage and losing to anybody. If you got me losing on a big stage to Roc and to Shine, they're the masters of the stage. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not up there losing to somebody just because I'm on a stage. Look, rest in peace, my dog Pat Stay. We had a great battle on that stage. That's a debatable battle. People got me winning, people got him winning. You know what I mean? The Shine battle, Torque was on a stage, but it was like 500, 600 people. And they said that was battle of the year.
Yeah.
What's up?
I said that's considered a big stage. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And that was considered one of the best battles of that year. Then I 30 Disaster on the stage on 10 days prep. If I wasn't good on the stage, 10 days prep would be a problem for me. You know what I mean? On the stage. And then, like, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Av was my first big stage ever after the pandemic. And you see me rocking that shit in the first round. You know what I mean? And then even by the third round, I'm still getting some room shakers in there. So if you're looking at when I first got on the stage to now, or any kind of, I think it's pretty. I think my clearest loss is Shine. I think the Roc battle, even if you want to count that as one, it's not like I've ever did bad on the stage. I'm not up there rapping and hitting crickets. You know what I mean? Like I'm not up there and like the crowd ain't engaged or whatever. Like if I could get it's gonna look a lot different when you're battling the best doing the best. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these dudes that might be on the stage, they're not getting somebody that's like, that's why, for example, when I talk about beating Disaster on the stage, I don't flaunt it because he wasn't all the way amazing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like they doing the opposite, where like somebody would do what they've been doing for 15 years, and then me being 5 years in, they're like, oh well, you didn't live up to the 15-year veteran. Like, like it's gonna look different. But that's why I said there's a lot of these little rappers that think they could do some shit with me on the stage, and it's like you watching me against the best to ever do it. It's gonna be a thing. There's a time thing that I can't forward 5-10 years of experience. You know what I mean? I'm 5 years in on the big leagues. You know what I mean? Taking this shit serious. So like, for example, somebody like Roc returning, right? Or even if you take somebody like Shine, they got time in the game. That's always going to be superior to talent and skill and all that other shit.
And they're consistent and active. Not to cut you off.
They're consistent. Yeah, no, you're good. That's part of it. They're consistent. They active. They got big fan bases. They got nostalgia on their side. I walked into this battle knowing all the cards are stacked against me. It doesn't matter if I rapped better. In the building, that's going to be Rock returning in New York.
Right.
I know this. This is why my material is the way that it is. I wasn't, and that's number one. Number two, I wasn't up there doing no complicated schemes and not all that other kind of shit. I was landing punches. My first round was, by that point, is one of the rounds of the night. I'm not just saying that.
Yeah,
if you look at the battles that went on, Unison Chess was good. You had John and Fonz. I think it was us. Then it was I know Hustle and T-Top was crazy.
Yeah, Jada Nightwing and
Nightwing and Rum. But my first round got probably Fonz had a lot of back-to-back shit, so maybe he got one of them rounds too. But my first round was one of the most back-to-back rounds in there, and I opened with that. Right. And then let me tell you another reason that's hard. When you battling somebody that's returning, if you rap first, there's a big part of the crowd that's just waiting for Rock to rap. So there's a lot of rappers that are gonna rap their round and get nothing because they just waiting for Rock to rap. Right. I had to break through that, and then they're like, all right, it's all right to react to him because he's going off. You know what I mean? That's another part of this that you're not going to be thinking about unless you're in a position and you got a hot battle IQ and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like all of that is part of the strategy. You got to know. Fire. You got to know. All right, the crowd is going to be feeling like this. How do I break through that? How do I get through that? Like there was people in the crowd, and then this is how I know it wasn't just the crowd. It was just Rock fans. That while I'm rapping my second, I'm like 8 bars in. It was probably like 4 to 5 people, something like that. I'll be 8 bars in, and he's like, not enough. I'm 8 bars in, bro. It's been 30 seconds. Like, wait for the round to be done. But those same dudes was trying to start like a 2-0 or a 3-0. And I remember one time one of them said it, and I saw a huge section of the crowd just look over at him. Like, you bugging. Like, the crowd did not feel that. There's a reason there was no chants and none of that. You know what I mean? Like
they knew it was a fight.
It was a good battle, yeah. So even if you got Rock edging every round, that's an accomplishment for somebody 5 years in, battling somebody returning 15 years in. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying, like, the scales are skewed. The way that people are trying to judge me on a stage or whatever. Like
right.
You could keep sleeping if you want, but if I wasn't good on a stage, I would have folded. I would have been stumbling. I would have been distracted by the heckle.
Now you was on 100. I ain't gonna lie. Like you didn't all your rounds, every round, like you was on 100. Like that.
Every round.
Rock was on 100 with you every round too. That's what made the shit like. That's what made it fire. So yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I think if anything, this proved the opposite. That there was a stigma on me before, but I feel like I'm in there with the best, doing the best, and then we had a good battle. That shows that I know what to do up there. Fact. You know what I mean? And honestly, for the last like 2 years, the rounds that I've been given, you know, my rounds with A-Board, my rounds with Ilmac, my rounds with Clips, even my shit with Rum, like all of that stuff. If it was on a stage, it would still be friendly to the stage. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not up there. That's how I would get it. Like, there's some dudes that will go up there and have complicated bars and schemes and shit. I ain't even angled to the third, and that was purposeful too. Because when you angle on a big stage, I know how to angle on a big stage. That's why it worked. If I wasn't good, I wouldn't be able to get to the third and have an angle that worked, that the crowd is reacting to, that the crowd is participating in. You know what I mean?
Right.
All of that is purposeful, and I think, if anything, it shows the opposite. It shows I know what to do on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
let me ask you this. You know, we fans, we watch we see, you know, how dope it is and everything like that.
Yeah.
What is that feeling to be up there? You know what I'm saying? And enduring and, you know what I'm saying, fighting back and going through your mind, like how's your brain calculating smack there? And you know what I'm saying? All of that, like whether you're on offense, rapping, or on defense, like what is it there to be like, to be that person that's there and going through that? Like,
it's a blessing, bro. It's crazy. It's like this was special for me because I've been watching, you know, Smack forever, right? URL. I still call it Smack. I don't even call it URL. I still call it Smack. But like I've been watching it forever. So like, you know, I seen along with the first battles, the Jin and Verse, the Mook and Party Artie. That's why I paid homage to that battle in my first, the Party Artie shit, right? Because I was a kid watching that shit. All the way up to when they got to the Gramercy, and I'm watching, you know, Briz and Tay Roc, you know what I mean, and or I think DNA and Briz was another one in there, and then you see the other battles in the Urban Plaza, you know what I mean, like, so it was always something that I wanted to check off my list. I feel like I did everything else. I rapped in London, I rapped in Canada, I rapped on the West Coast, Atlanta, Florida, you know what I mean, like. Oh, big stage, little room. I feel like I did everything. The only thing I didn't have on URL was a New York battle. And New York is the Mecca. There's a different energy in New York. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I could do that dead in the middle of Little Italy flow, that the little section I had in the first.
That's like
Like
that's
I could do that and it gets received the way it does because that shit
right,
was born here. Hip hop was
right,
born here. So every style works here. You know what I mean? So like that was especially, you know, special for me that I got to do that. And then being on the stage and seeing what Gramercy looks like from the stage venue, because I never really went to the battles back in the day. I went to like Urban Plaza, I think, for like a double impact or something like that. When Arce and Suge battled Clips and Goods, I think that one. But I was there with the rappers, you know what I mean? I never went and sat as a fan or something like that. So now that I like skipped that experience and I went right to being on the stage and looking out, you know what I mean? It's special. And when you say some shit and the crowd reacts like in a venue like that, the energy you get, the adrenaline, like all of that is crazy. But all the things you're talking about that, you know, this person's here, that person's there, the crowd going, all of that is stuff you're thinking like before. When you get on stage and you start rapping, you kind of just in another zone, you know what I mean? Because one side of your brain is just focusing on the material, and then the other side is focusing on say it like this, take this pause over here, you know what I mean? Raise your voice more here, bring it back down over here. Like it's a whole bunch of shit going on in our mind at the time. You know what I mean? So you can never really live in the moment. The only time you live in the moment and is when if the crowd is chanting like 3-0 or something like that. You know what I mean? Or like for example, when I battled Ilmac, I didn't snap out of it until the crowd I heard them say 3-0, then it snapped like, oh shit, I did it. Like you know what I mean? The battle's over. Because this is the part that's crazy. Like you spend so we had like what 3-4 weeks for this, right? Anytime you're preparing, you're visualizing this 30 minutes to an hour. It's a small period of time that you just visualize it over and over, and everything that could go wrong, everything that could go right. You know what I mean? Like things you got to do to make that small little period of time be what you want it to be. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a whole day. You know what I mean? It's not like you have you just got like most battles, you know what I mean? This was an hour, but like most battles is like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, right? So you spending all these countless hours, countless days, countless weeks for just that. You know what I mean? So when you're in there, it goes by quick. You know what I mean? It's not something you could really bask in like that. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird thing because I'm trying to think like what you could like compare it to. I kind of compared it to did you see The Jackal? It's a TV show. It's on I think it's on Peacock or something. It's about a hitman that's a sniper, right? And I was like, it's kind of like being a sniper because like he got to do months of research and he got to go to the venue and look at where he's gonna hide and research this dude that's gonna be at the venue and all this other shit, and then he has to find where he's gonna be. All this preparation for this one little moment that he got. He got like a little moment to get this dude. And then I was like, battling is kind of like that, to where you're doing all this prep, you thinking about battling this person and all the things you can say to him. Then you got this one little moment, and then the moment's done. Now it's on to the next. You know what I mean? So it's a weird experience. You know what I mean? And the thing that makes it different from, you know, releasing an album or putting music out is you getting a review in person. You know what I mean? Like when you drop an album, you just reading comments and reviews and what people think about it. When you battling every line, you're getting a review of if the crowd likes it or if they don't. You know what I mean? So it makes you focus on different aspects of writing. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of shit that goes into this. You know what I mean?
Is it like an out of body experience? I guess when you're in there, like you know, you don't feel like you there, but you like really like your subconscious has taken over in a sense.
Yeah, yeah. Your body is just like reacting to your brain. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what it feels like. Your subconscious is in control at the moment. Yeah, it's some wild shit, bro. It's not normal. You know what I mean?
Because to be able to be in that zone and in that moment and then to be clashing, you know, like it's deeper, I think, than what people even really kind of know what's going on in there. Especially, it's like high level, you know, like they say, it's the highest level performance art that's out probably right now in the world, right? You know what I'm saying? Battling out, because I'm trying to figure out what like is so like what you could compare, whether on Hollywood and theater and things of that nature. This is like, you know, this is definitely goes up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the closest comparison is stand-up comedy.
Okay.
But the thing that separates it is, all right, if you're a comedian and you got a special coming up in 6 months,
right,
you going around to different cities and testing your material out, right?
Yeah, ain't none of that.
Our version of that is who we call on the phone. You
right,
know what I mean?
right. Spar before, talk rap, in front of your peers.
Yeah, here these rounds I got. You know what I mean? And I only really show like no more than, I mean, 5 people is a lot. I mostly show like that at max, my material. When I get to the city, whoever's in the hotel will spar and shit, you know what I mean? But like while I'm writing the shit, you don't really got a whole bunch of people that's gonna review it. But the thing that makes it similar is when a stand-up comic is doing his special, you know, he's practiced the timing, he's practiced the lead up to the punchline, he's practiced, you know, him doing good is reliant on how the crowd is reacting. You know what I mean? And shit like that. So that part is similar. You know what I mean? The two differences is one, they get to go for months testing it out, and two, there's nobody on the other side telling them their jokes is trash. You know what I mean? Or something like that. It's just them up there. You know what I mean? So I know the differences between like releasing an album and battling is kind of like the difference between this. Another comparison I did was like making a movie and being at like a theater, like what's that shit called? Wow, it's slipping my mind. But yeah, a theater. You get what I'm saying? Like a play.
Yeah, like Broadway or something like that.
Yeah, Broadway.
Watching
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Notebook
Broadway,
or watching one of these type of shows or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, in a movie, there's a lot of, you know, editing and take 1, take 2.
Yeah, but it's live, Broadway live performance, baby.
Crazy, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like making an album is like making a movie, and then battling is kind of like theater. You know what I mean? So like, that's the only things I could compare it to. But they still, the one major difference is you don't got a dance partner. You know what I mean? There's nobody on stage with you.
It could be tension. It could be this. It could be that. It's like so many intangibles that come with this.
Yeah. And I don't know how many other places where tension is a certain amount of tension is a good thing for the performance. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
Yeah. So yeah, it's its own unique thing for sure. Yeah.
Imagine having mic issues or something like that, and having to perform through that, and imagine they stop and you and have to fix your mic physically, and then you have to like all of that plays into the whole game of what's going on up there. Like
I hate that shit, bro. I hate when that shit. Yeah, it's a whole different thing for sure. But you're right. It's definitely one of the highest performance arts.
Let me ask you this, right? You know, who you want to smoke with after this, man? I heard you keep saying, you know, a bunch of little rappers out here talking crazy. Is there anybody you want to smack up real quick? Like, yo, I keep talking, like, you know what I mean? Come see what this sick work like, man.
I think my next URL battle should be chess.